Welcome to this special session on building a job search competitive edge. This is one of the top needs identified by students when asking for help by career services with their job search. So I'm excited. My name is Sean Elliott, and I'm here to share with you regarding one of the episodes of our Career Conversation series. We're providing this recording to better assist you coming back to these points later. Working with many students at Georgian College, we have over 12,000 full-time students to over 35,000 part-time students, over 100,000 graduates. We continue to assist all students in all 7 campus locations, and we're really wanting to use this as a way to kind of build on your job search competitive edge. We want to look at this topic to really help you to access the hidden job market. Career Conversations is a weekly drop-in hour from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. noon that we have launched for the fall of 2024, Georgian College Career Services, on Thursdays between 11 a.m. and 12 noon. It's an opportunity to connect with the expertise of career consultants, employment resource officers, and guest speakers while networking with other student participants. To find out more about Career Conversations in the weeks ahead, please visit Georgian Connects by looking at the menu of apps on Georgian College's website. We meet both in person and online, so by going to Georgian Connects, you can find the meeting room location or the online link to connect from your own device on Thursdays. If you have any other questions about your job search or career plans, this is a great time to drop in to get answers on the spot and to supercharge your job search journey. Okay, well, maybe that's a bit of an overstatement. We're not superheroes, but by connecting with others during your job search, you will be inspired and encouraged to keep building on your skills, experience, education, and interests. As one of the career consultants at Georgian, I serve our existing students and graduates in making the most of their career choices. And this is where we try to infuse a lot of our background, our experience with students and grads over the number of years we've been here to really help you to accelerate your efforts. We support students through a career plan that includes 3 things. First, knowing yourself. Second, exploring options. And then third, planning your actions. Knowing yourself is an understanding of all your strengths, your interests, your personality traits, your skills, abilities, values, work style, motivators, ambitions. Exploring your options is growing in your market research, what's going on in the industry, the trends, looking at the labor market, earnings, understanding the educational and training requirements, the work environments, and even considering self-employment options. Planning your actions builds on these first 2 through thoughtful decision-making and goal setting that considers the reality and the priorities while also understanding the challenges that you may be faced with. Are these not the kind of factors that will be integrated with some of the courses that you may be involved with, and maybe even the respective industry professionals that you interact with through the programs? What are some of the top traditional methods of finding a job? Well, many people would think, obviously, handing out resumes, maybe applying online, doing some networking, going to job fairs. Many of these kinds of things might come to mind. Now, when I mention these things, did you have to study something ahead of time to figure these things out? No, you probably thought of these right away as soon as I asked the question. So, most people do think of these strategies, right? But in some ways, career development professionals and employment consultants are, not the only professionals that focus on these kinds of tools. When do you think most students and job hunters and clients come to people like myself? What kind of tools or methods and strategies do they want help with? Well, all of these. But, it's interesting because people usually seek out the help of a professional like myself when these things are not working for them. So it's interesting because consensus among experts is that you should send about 500 to 1,000 resumes if you're merely sending them out without applying for a specific posting or you haven't been asked for it. And yet with Career Success Services at the college, we still get hundreds of students coming to our hub every week asking if they can print off piles of resumes to distribute. for part-time and graduate work. So if you think about it, if you were into gambling, would these be good odds? On one job posting website for an agency that worked with multiple companies, they collected over 85,000 resumes, but less than 850 resumes were even looked at. So, not great odds. Guess how long the average employer looks at a resume? Not very long. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. So looking at it from the perspective of the job hunter, rejection is the most predominant reaction to most of the job search methods. And so if we don't talk about other work search strategies, we're going to spend more time trying to pick ourselves up from the rejection than exploring ways to fulfill our dreams, our goals, and desires. So therefore, we really need to understand how can we actually grow inner job hunting skills, but equally important, if not more important, we need to consider some non-traditional methods of securing work. And that's what we are here to explore further in our time together today. So when you're applying for jobs on the internet through the employer's website, do you know what the success rate is of that? 4 to 7%. So it's pretty low. And yet that seems to be one of the predominant ways that people are looking for work these days. Some of the most favorite resources that students use online, including these list of job boards, such as our own Georgian Connects, Indeed, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, workinsimcoecounty.ca, the Government Job Bank, Workopolis. What are the stats of success using traditional methods? Well, using internet job posting sites to apply for work or posting your resume to employers, as we mentioned before, is anywhere between 4 to 7%. When we look at going to private employment agencies or firms that specifically look in your particular field and competency and skill area, it could be anywhere between 5 to 28%. Answering ads in professional trade journals, even some of these are for members only, that can increase to 7%. Job support groups is 10%. And now this can also be valuable in providing emotional and mental support as you're rallying together with other people and making those kind of connections. You'll see some of these kinds of opportunities available through different government employment centers, especially if you are in the Ontario area. In addition, this type of career conversation drop-in hour can be very helpful as a support group for students at Georgian. Going to government employment services can increase to 14%. Now, it's interesting because some of these government employment services are not available to students to access all the services. They can look at some of the resources, but can't engage with everything. Number 7, going to places where employers pick up workers. Now, these are things like union halls, or a little bit different than maybe a typical employment agency. This is where employers are actually going to show up, for an example, looking at a list of people that might be available. So, these are a little bit different than your typical recruitment agency, but these are almost like temp day workers, and they can still get picked up for work for day jobs that might fill a gap. And so with that, it's 22%. Now, participating in the gig or freelance economy, this is where people may be exploring opportunities such as, the DoorDash, delivering groceries. We've even heard of justpark.com, where people are renting their driveway out for parking, for an example, or using their home through Airbnb or Uber. People are even using it for other things now, such as dog care, Etsy, things like that. So we're really not sure what the success rate of that kind of economy. It's fairly new and burgeoning. So that's an interesting thing to consider. Not as stable, but it could be a great opportunity for you to explore some more experience. Asking for job leads, 33%. Now, this is where you're building on your connections with your family, your friends, your former workers and colleagues. Now, this is 5 times better chances than sending your resume to employers. So, doing that networking is so important. And then lastly, number 10, knocking on the doors of prospective employers that are within your field. That's 47% success rate. Now that's 7 times more effective than sending your resume, but requires a lot more courage and professional presentation. Now here's a question that I would put on the Slido deck if we were meeting in person with a group, and I would ask, how long do most employers take to review a resume and cover letter to determine who they will invite for an interview? Now, from the list of selections there, which one do you think you would go for? Now, most people, when I ask them this question, would typically say, oh, the employer probably takes about half an hour. Some might even say, oh, they probably just take about 5 minutes. And some will even say, oh, well, they'll probably look at it for a few weeks before they determine who they're going to invite for an interview. Well, the research actually indicates that most employers only take 6 to 8 seconds. 6 to 8 seconds to review your resume and cover letter. And you think about the amount of emotional energy and time that you put into every statement that's on there, how it's structured, how it's formatted, all those kinds of different things, and yet an employer will only take less than 10 seconds to review that. So when we think about this, we need to kind of match our emotional energy to what the employer is going to be doing and looking at that. Do you know what kind of method will get you the highest level of success? Well, according to the 2020 edition of What Color is Your Parachute, using a non-traditional method of job hunting will result in success 86% of the time. So that's 12 times the effectiveness of posting your resume with employers. And that is the perspective that we're introducing to you in how to build your competitive edge in the hidden job market. A well-rounded job search involves looking for work using a variety of different resources and methods. So some job searching methods may include some job boards and using social media, employer websites, volunteering, and even cold calling. However, accessing the hidden job market is about being a little more flexible in considering openings that are not posted or planned for, such as part-time jobs, contract roles, vacancies from staff sickness or emergencies, increased workload due to an unforeseen project by a company, or even entrepreneurial opportunities. The hidden job market is not about getting work under the table. Cash jobs are hiding the money that you might make from entrepreneurial initiatives. But consider an iceberg. What does an iceberg look like? I mean, maybe most of us have not actually seen an iceberg in person, but we might have seen some icebergs on a movie like the Titanic. And how did an iceberg impact the sinking of the Titanic? Well, the largest part of it was hidden. It was under the water. Experts say that over 80% of jobs are in the hidden job market, and so most employers display a small percentage of opportunities publicly. So if you're able to build on this, your job search can be more effective and less competitive. And it's often in these kinds of roles that companies will consider you because of your recommendations, your connections, and your previous accomplishments. How can it be less competitive, you may ask? Well, dispelling the myth means that applicants often start at the opposite point than where employers start when they're considering hiring. Employers start their networking about potential candidates to hire from within. In other words, who they know. They may move up through different agencies or people who are working in the field. They haven't even started looking at resumes yet. Yet applicants starting their job search start by looking at the ads that they can see that are advertised. So they're at opposite ends of the spectrum. And by the time the applicant looks at the ad, the employer may have already had some people in mind. Maybe they've started even looking at some resumes through their connections, or at least has a sense of what they're going to narrow the role to doing. So your goal should really be to grow in your networking by making those personal connections. And this is often one of the top reasons why students reach out to Career Services and our Career Hub for more support. Now, to think about getting that kind of support, here's one way that you could get started. Build your introductory elevator pitch. In less than 60 seconds, figure out a way to introduce yourself with the top 3 qualifications and approach professionals in the field that you want to work in. Conduct regular introductions to companies and professionals by asking them 3 questions. First, are you hiring in your company? 2, do you know someone who might be hiring? And 3, can you introduce me to someone who can help me learn more about the field and the industry? So to do this, start with a 30-second introduction, like this elevator pitch introduction with the top 3 qualifications, and then ask the professional if you can take 10 to 15 minutes of their time. It's not enough to know why this is important. You need to know how to build on resources to move forward with practical application. Why is networking effective? Because it can create a competitive edge. There are lots of resources to utilize in this approach, such as portfolios, such as the college's Pebble Pad, online profiles, developing an elevator pitch introduction. The college has launched this new pilot employment portfolio called Pebble Pad, and to experiment with this, you can go to the Learning Journey platform on the student SharePoint to explore it further. Networking with employers is one of the most effective non-traditional methods of finding a job and building your career. Now, for those introverted professionals, networking can be one of the most challenging exercises to engage in. But creating an elevator pitch where you've thought it through, carefully considered the outline, it can be actually one of the most strategic and helpful strategies to help you think about what to say and how to get started. For those extroverted professionals, creating an elevator pitch introduction can be a productive way to release your preferences in connecting with people in a dynamic manner, while also staying on track with a professional edge. But how should you develop an elevator pitch introduction with employers? From the job search game plan article posted on the student portal called MyGC Life, you can look at how to build an elevator pitch, and it can actually be easier than you realize. It might not be easy, of course, putting yourself out there and presenting yourself in a transparent manner, but it is one of the most important means to communicate in a professional way. Employers will hear your passion through your voice, your tone, your body language, and the words you share. And it doesn't have to be long. So here's some things that you can include in a 30 to 60 second introduction. Your name, your program in college that you're coming from, the field or position that you're interested in. List any knowledge, skills, experience, and the interest that would be of value to this field or this position. And then show your interest in the occupation, the company, or the industry field by asking for a time to get together, an informational interview or a short meeting, but don't ask for a job yet. I mean, does that sound reasonable? My colleagues challenged me to try this in an actual elevator to see if it could actually be done in a short amount of time. I wasn't prepared ahead of time, except that I thought through these 5 main points of what to include. So listen to my attempt to consider how you could do yours. I'm Elliot, and I am a graduate of George Brown's Career Development Program. And I'm excited to talk to you about my interest in becoming a career consultant in your college. I've worked in career development and employment centers for over 10 years through employment programs, college areas, cooperative education, work integrated learning initiatives, and community agencies. And having the reputation of creating and implementing new initiatives has highlighted my innovation, problem solving, and creative skills. I'm curious if I could take some time to talk to you about the kinds of challenges and opportunities in your school and the things that will lead into students' career pathways. Thank you. So you can see how the outline is an opportunity to kind of craft your message. From our workshop on interviewing skills, we talk about common interview questions. One of the most common interview questions that the employer asks and that most job seekers also struggle with is, tell me about yourself. It is a great way to start an interview, but it's also a way that many job seekers fail to begin with a professional, competitive edge. So this is not the time to share about your hobbies, how you're feeling that day, or how bad the traffic was when you were trying to get to the interview. The question, tell me about yourself, is what HR professionals call an open-ended question. It allows you to talk about your top qualifications, even your technical skills, transferable skills, maybe acquired through your education and work experience. However, this is also a great opportunity to use your elevator pitch introduction. Yes, your elevator pitch introduction can be used to answer the question, tell me about yourself in an interview. So let's hear an example from our job search coach at the Career Hub at Georgian College. You might be surprised how much information Praisey gets into a 30-second introduction. This is a great way to get your interview started off on the right foot with professional communication.
Hi, come let's see how I answer to the most frequently asked interview question. Tell me about yourself.
Tell me about yourself.
Hi, my name is Praisey Maikwan. I'm currently pursuing a Business Administration Human Resources program at Georgian College. I bring experience as a job search coach, honing my communication skills and expertise in resume and cover letter reviews, as well as maintaining strong employee relations. Additionally, my role as shift lead at Southmark has equipped me with invaluable skills in onboarding, training, interviewing, and managing correspondence as well. I'm eager to leverage all these experiences and skill sets in a dynamic human resources recruiter role within your esteemed organization. I'm excited to discuss how my experience aligns with your needs and how I can add value to your organization.
It's your turn. It's your turn. I'd like you to pause and try this yourself using the outline that we provided. It might be awkward with your first try, but try. The more you practice it, the more freedom you'll experience. Your student activity fees pay for a number of platforms, resources, and supports, and one of these is My Interview Practice. And if you can scan the code or go on to My GC Life, you can gain access to this platform to record your own elevator pitch introduction or use it for additional interview practice. If you've gone to the right place, it'll look something like this. You'll be able to use your computer's camera to record yourself, and as you practice, you'll be able to see how you do in your own comfort. There is one My Interview Practice module listed on Georgian's account called Tell Me About Yourself that you can use to practice your elevator pitch introduction. For insights on this approach, you can also check out other websites like Talent Egg. They talk about this as a brand new way to get noticed and recruited by top employers. Thank you for this short time to discuss how to build a job search competitive edge. For more details on this, join us next week for more tips on this topic and many others. We meet on Thursdays from 11 to 11:55 a.m. this fall. We can cover some more tips on this topic as part of Career Conversations. Go on to Georgian Connects to get the details, to join us online or in person. Hope to see you next week.